Today's topic? Yeah, that should be the perfect game for me to share with my 10-year-old daughter. Thanks. Welcome to another episode of TABLEscraps, in which we present a topic related to tabletop gaming and then have a brief conversation about it with the live audience. Let's not waste any more time listening to this weird intro music. Let's get right into today's discussion. Hey there everyone, and welcome to another episode of our experimental month-long daily series TABLEscraps, in which we present a topic related to tabletop gaming, and then we'll have a brief conversation about it with the live audience that's right along with the live stream. Today's topic is going to be an interesting one because it's a little more of a hefty one, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of discussion this leads to. But the topic in and of itself comes from TR Knight, who posted this topic on our BGG Guild forum. And he says, as a fellow father of a girl, how do you discuss inclusivity in gaming with her? My twin daughters are heading to college this fall. And inclusivity and representation have become a significant topic that we discuss when we notice this. They now gravitate towards games that they feel better represent them, to the point they now watch for artists and designers who do that consistently. Your daughter is younger, V-Bug is 10 years old, and I know many others who follow you are possible fathers of girls as well. With a younger daughter, how do you discuss this topic with her when you introduce new games to her? Does V-Bug currently notice representation in games? Wow! Well, that is an excellent topic. And now, it's one of the things, too, I didn't want to come right in here, since we're talking about inclusivity in games, especially inclusivity as it relates to, a 10-year-old girl or daughters. I didn't want to run the risk of coming out and just flat out mansplaining everything to everyone. So I figured, what better way to start off the conversation about inclusivity of daughters in gaming than to actually ask my 10-year-old daughter about it. So we recorded a short, 2-minute segment together where I asked her about this topic, and I will show it to you right now. So, to get the best answer to this question possible, I'm actually joined by a 10-year-old little girl, V-Bug. Hello, V-Bug. Thank you for joining us. So, when we're playing games that have, characters and stuff, have you ever run into the point where you're like, there's not enough girl characters or anything, or the girl characters that they are ones you can't really relate to?
Yeah.
Tell me about one of your favorite games to play as a family right now.
I like Legends of Andor.
And what's something that you have actually noticed yourself that you like specifically about Legends of Andor?
Legends of Andor has 2 characters for each fighter legend. Each legend. So if you flip the board around, it can be a girl.
Mm-hmm. And all the stats and everything are exactly the same.
Yes.
The only thing that's different is the artwork.
Yes.
And that's kind of nice, because that way it kind of helps you feel included, because it's not like some of the characters, like a wizard and fighter, are boys, and then like paladin and someone cleric are girls. You can play any one of the characters that you want. You can be included in any character that you like.
And then Ghostbusters.
Protect the barrier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's no boys. It's all girls.
That's true. Well, there's the ghosts.
I guess. But the ghosts don't count. They could be girls too. Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
The characters don't have genders.
That's true. And a lot.
I like to be the carnivore and eat my dad.
Yes, I know. You like to eat all of my people as much as you can in that game. Also, I'd like Forbidden Island is one we play a lot, and that's just little meeples, and that doesn't even have genders at all assigned to it, does it? Are you being a meeple?
Yes.
Okay, we're done. Okay, so there is a kid's perspective straight from the mouth of the kid. And a couple of things stood out to me as a parent while I was doing this interview with her. Specifically, what came to mind is, first and foremost, when it comes to how inclusivity affects the child's willingness and enjoyment of board gaming, I think, obviously, it's going to vary child by child. I think VBug actually doesn't notice it as much yet. One, because of her age. She's only 10 at the moment. And personally, I get the gut feeling that it's probably not going to be something that starts to be something she notices until she's probably closer to 13 or 14 or so. I don't know if that's universal or if that's just her in the stage of her development. That would be something I'd be really curious to know from everyone in the chat, to know if you have had the same type of experiences with your own children, how their comfort levels have changed as they've aged, and what age that kind of they started to notice it. The other thing too is what the kid is into. VBug has never been into playing with the toys that were traditionally marketed towards little girls. She never played with dolls. She was always into science and crafts. And in fact, one of the proudest moments I've had as a father is one day she said to me, "You know what, Daddy? I don't want to be a princess. I want to be a paleontologist." So that was like, oh, well, that's awesome. Do you shield them from this type of thing? Or do you go the other way, and do you go out of your way to point out issues, social issues, and issues of inclusivity? Do you point all that out to them? Here's the real big secret. And when it comes to me and my parenting approach, I don't know. I was thinking about it. I was trying to come up with some sort of solid advice, and I couldn't come up with any. My wife and I play it by ear. There has been no golden key to unlock the method to it. So it's one of those things where I think, at least to me, in my experiences, the correct answer has been that there is no actual real correct answer. And maybe the best approach is to have a continual, natural, organic dialogue when it comes up, when the opportunity arises. So that's, again, just me. And I am super curious to know what the chat has to say about this. So let's go over to the chat. Let's start here with a message from the Meeples Academy, who says, "My daughter likes Ryan Laukatz's games like Above and Below and Islebound, where the villagers and crew are a great mix of genders and some animalish creatures, fish, folk, glogos, birds, and robots, and so on and so forth." I think you pointed out something that I also noticed, in that we seem to be drawn towards games at the moment, especially as she's been growing, that are gender neutral. King of Tokyo with its monsters, Forbidden Island with just its meeples, like we mentioned. Stuff where there aren't actually male and female characters. I was thinking of making a list, and there was actually quite a few. So with Ryan Laukatz's games, how he has a variety of genders, but also, well, I guess they still have genders, all the creatures in there. I wonder if having those fantastical, mythical creatures in the game also helps to reduce that barrier a little. I would be really interested in finding out, and I'm hoping that all of this leads to more of a dialogue than coming across as the definitive answer on this issue. So let's continue on with more questions and comments with Kabuki Kid, who mentions One Deck Dungeon has all the characters as women in that game. And I thought that was fairly novel. At the same time, would it make little boys not feel included? That is, I think, a valid question. It can be a very sensitive subject, so I don't want to blurt off my big fat mouth about it too much. But One Deck Dungeon in and of itself, doesn't offend me by it only having female characters. Ghostbusters Protect the Barrier doesn't offend me by having all female characters. But I am not the one who is the gender who is usually marginalized and excluded. So again, I honestly feel like I can't really talk to that intelligently. So let's go to someone who is more intelligent than me. Anybody in the chat. Let's go next to Zachary, who says, As a father of 2 young boys, I want them to be raised in an inclusive gaming and social culture. This isn't just an issue for young daughters as much as it is for all of the next generation. I absolutely positively agree with you there, Zachary. And I hope that instead of just becoming a knot that gets worse, it leads to a long-term solution socially. We'll find out. I mean, we'll see. Willy, who joins us, who says, my daughter just turned 5. And now she's getting more interested in board games. Now, while inclusivity is always on my mind, sometimes I may overbear her with it over just enjoying the game. It's something that at the moment your child is young enough that it's on your mind and you're kind of overcorrecting. You feel you're overcorrecting a little bit there. Is that correct? If so, I can totally understand that. Like when I interviewed VBug for this episode, I had to do several takes because I was approaching it just a little too bluntly, and it wasn't something that was on her radar yet at all, and she didn't really even kind of understand where I was coming from with the questions and stuff. So I think that as a parent, it really helps to gauge where your child is at. And obviously, I think every child is going to be at a different stage of development. Let's take a question from Lord Jav, who says to us in the chat window, when it comes to video games like Tomb Raider, Metroid, etc., they were great games due to theme and gameplay. If a board game has great theme and great gameplay, does the gender really matter? That is the $35 question, isn't it? And to be blunt, I think that in the long run, yeah, I think gender does matter. I think of games like VBug mentioned, the Legends of Andor, and also Relic Runners, both of which have double-sided player boards that are male and female on each side. And I know that I personally like having that option available just because whenever we have a game night, game nights sometimes are just the guys are over, and some nights it's like a 50-50 split, couples over or just other friends. And it's nice not having to divvy up certain characters to certain people to match their gender. It's like, oh, look, 3 of you will get female characters and 2 of you are going to have to take male characters. It's nice not even having to worry about that and let everybody have the character or the color, faction, whatever that they want. This question is from who is going to say to us, I am having trouble of thinking of any game where gender is even relevant. Is it more of a dissuasive factor than anything else? And that actually is I think, a good point to end on here. Because you're right. In most games, video games or board games, really, it doesn't really matter, does it? In terms of gameplay, whether your character is male or female. So I think that actually can better, even more underscore the fact that including an equal number of male and female character options in the games that do have gender-specific characters, it makes more sense. Because if it doesn't matter at all, why not just make the options available? And hopefully, it's one of the things that will kind of become more normalized so that in, 3, 4, 5 years, when I go to pick out a game to play with my then teenage daughter, I won't have to be as selective in which game to introduce her to, because hopefully it'll be less of an issue anymore. I really guess, though, time will tell. And speaking of time, unfortunately, we are out of time for this episode, but I want to thank the live streaming chat who took the time to join us again today. And I want to thank everyone else out there who has been joining the discussion on our YouTube comments, on our Facebook page and Twitter page, and also to everyone who has been supporting Pair of Dice Paradise through our Pod Pledge fundraiser campaign. This video was made possible by the contributions of viewers just like you, right there, sitting on the green couch. Yeah, that's right. So until next time, I have been Chaz Marler, and along with the live streaming YouTube chat, we have been serving up some table scraps.
also in King of Tokyo.
What about King of Tokyo? Now they are monsters, but you can't really tell if they're a boy or girl monster, and it doesn't really matter in that, does it?
Mm-hmm. One's a rabbit.
That is true. I have no idea if it's a normal rabbit or like a space alien rabbit.
Me neither.
Yeah. We'll probably never know. Don't cry. Okay, we're done.